All right, welcome back to episode 9 of the All American Hoops podcast. I'm Chris Driscoll, and I am once again welcomed by my two brothers, Matt Driscoll.
Hey, Chris, it's always an honor to be on here. Thank you for having me on again.
Fantastic. And John Driscoll.
Fellas, happy to be back. Thanks for having us on again, AH.
Absolutely. Great time to be having on the show. Great time for the show. We are currently in the last night up until the All-Star break, which, by the way, insane how quickly this season has gone. It feels like yesterday was opening night when the Celtics were playing the Knicks. So like a ton has gone by. So yeah, but anyway, before we wanted to talk about the All-Star game in particular, we just want to talk about a couple of things about how the season's going, more specifically about how teams are living up to expectations or lack thereof as well. But first, we wanted to actually talk about we want to get the negative out of the way. So we're going to talk about which teams that we believe have been disappointing. So teams that just haven't been as good as they're supposed to be, or teams that have just been not good at all. So, John, do you want to start off by telling us who one of your most disappointing teams are?
Yeah, I think when we think about most disappointing teams, we think about teams that were supposed to be championship contenders and haven't lived up to that yet. Personally, when I thought about one of the more underperforming teams, I went a little in a different direction with it. I thought the Atlanta Hawks have been extremely underwhelming this year. You look at this last spring, they were a team that took the Boston Celtics to 6 games and kind of gave them a tough time, with the exception of 1 or 2 blowouts. But Trae Young, I know, all-star, we all have a little bit of a gripe with that. Some of us do. It's kind of clear to me that Trae Young and DeJounte Murray aren't the dynamic duo that they would have hoped. I think they're both just 2 ball-dominant guys, and they're both not good enough to be ball-dominant number 1 options. So I think a trade, whether it's going to be Trae or DeJounte or both, I think that's imminent this offseason, but that's my selection for most underperforming teams so far this year.
Yeah, John, I would agree with what you said. I'm surprised they didn't sell at the deadline. Like, I think it's pretty clear you're not going to win with these 2 guys as your 2 main guys. So I'm shocked they didn't sell at the deadline. But I would say my most disappointing team this year is a team in the West. It's probably the Lakers. They're sitting at the 9 seed right now. They're currently 30-26. They have been playing better, but I don't know. Whenever you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis on your team, you're supposed to be a championship contender. Right now, they're just in the play-in. They're actually in the first round of the play-in. They're going to play the Warriors, who are also very disappointing this year. But I think it's people want Darvin Ham out, which I think always the coach gets kind of gets a bad rap. But just a very disappointing team through and through.
Yeah, all 3 of the teams that were mentioned absolutely have great cases to be one of the more disappointing teams in the league. The Hawks, the Warriors, the Lakers. When I thought about this topic, the Warriors and the Lakers were my first 2 ones that I thought about. But when I dug deeper, because the Lakers and the Warriors have been playing better lately, I'm expecting both those teams to be better it's not really the second half, but in the final stretch of the season. Especially the Warriors. The Lakers are a little more unpredictable in my opinion, because they're aging and everything. But this is actually one that a lot of people might not be expecting. But my biggest disappointment is actually the Sacramento Kings. Both of their star players, Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox, are having all-star caliber seasons. I don't think none of them made the all-star game, but they're both playing great. But however, the past couple of weeks they've just been big time disappointing. And I know they had that big loss against the Pistons. And then they end up coming back and winning against the Nuggets. So it feels like they've just been like a roller coaster all year long after being the 3 seed last year. So, and not really many people were predicting them to be much better than last year. But when you're like, it almost like, not to like that this extent, but it almost reminds me of the 2019 Celtics where they go to 2018, like their 2 best players get hurt, and then they just go on this magnificent run where everyone loves them and like how great they are. But then the year after that, you go into the season with like expectations, then you're just inconsistent the entire year long. So I think they have that similarity there. But then a couple other ones you can argue. You could also argue the Milwaukee Bucks as well. But even then, you can't argue that too much because they're near the top of the East, but they're just not as good. But yeah, since we got the negatives out of the way of the show, we try not to be too negative on the show. Unless we're talking about Joel Embiid and the Sixers. But next we can actually talk about some of the more who we think are the more impressive teams so far. Matt, do you want to start off with that?
Yeah. To start off, obviously, I would like to shout out the best team in the league record-wise, and I think who should be the favorite to win the finals. It's the Boston Celtics. They are 43-12 right now. They're the 1 seed. You know, they were like in kind of what people are calling a rut, but they're still super, like they're still playing super well. You know, they passed that 40-20 rule where you have to win 40 games before you lose 20 games. I just think they could hurt you in so many ways. They're very impressive. But I also have the Cavs on this list, 36-17. They've been playing super, super well. They're currently the 2 seed. Defense is super impressive. So we just got to see how they do in the playoffs after a disappointing first-round exit last year.
Kicking it to me. I went back and forth on this a little bit. I don't want to start naming teams and steal some from you, Chris, but I think my number one would probably have to be the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think I saw a tweet the other day that said their win total line set by Vegas at the beginning of the year was 42.5, and they're already at 38. Best. I think Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. Best defensive rating in the league still.
Mm-hmm.
Still very impressive offensively as well. Anthony Edwards, up and coming superstar, and I think they're either the team to beat in the West. Unless it's kind of hard to say. There's like 4 teams that could be considered teams to beat in the West, but they're definitely, they're leading the West right now. They're towards the top, and I think they have overperformed expectations severely.
100%. And yeah, I'm actually someone who predicted the Wolves to be higher. Most people, I think, I had them at the 5 or the 6 seed. And they were like projected by Vegas to be the 9th or the 10th seed. So the fact that they're surpassing expectations on both Vegas and those that are higher than scale is super impressive. So the team that I think of actually is the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm someone who's been I kind of have a grudge against the Thunder, mainly just because I feel like that Sam Presti was anointed by, as the media sweetheart a little too early, simply because without the Thunder winning anything, people had talked about how great of a GM he was, which he is. He's earning that now with how great they are. But we don't do any segments here as far as it goes for like cold takes yet. But however, I do think that one of the colder takes that will definitely be nominated is when I wrote out my rewards for the year. I was deciding between Wemby and Chet Holmgren to be Rookie of the Year. And then I said Wemby because I was also expecting the Spurs to be almost as good as the Thunder, which obviously isn't the case. Obviously, Chet's been fantastic on defense. SGA is looking like an MVP caliber candidate. J-Dub has been fantastic as well. So like that big 3 is phenomenal. And I don't know if I would consider them favorites to win the West. They're one of the 4 teams that John mentioned. It's the Wolves, the Thunder, the Nuggets, and my Los Angeles Clippers. It's going to be one of those 4 teams, in my opinion. I do think that it's going to come down to those 4 in the Western Conference semifinals as well. I can see any of the 4 of them making the finals, and I don't know how many of them can win the finals, but one of those 4 teams could easily make the finals. We talked enough about how the season's going and everything, but however, we wanted to move on to what is going to be like our first for the first 8.5 episodes. We just talked about, it was mainly just me and a couple other guests talking about how the season's going and everything, but we're actually going to play a game now, and it's something I'm really excited for. I was trying to come up with a joke regarding 3 sports fans doing there's no such thing as a sports podcast unless you do some type of draft. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're going to do a draft of the 24 NBA players. The 24 NBA All-Stars. This is something, this is the first season since I believe 2017 where it's officially East versus West. So like there's no draft or anything like that. But however, we wanted to keep the tradition. We think that's the draft is fun, but we're going to do it different as well. rather than doing just 12 and 12 starters and bench reserves, we're just going to go. The three of us are drafting our own team. So we're each going to draft 8 players, 8 rounds, and all 24 players are going to be up for grabs. Like we're not going to keep it limited to starters versus reserves or anything. So
let me ask you, Chris, are we going to kind of rate it based on positions? So are we doing like a starting 5 and then like a 3 bench spot, or are we just doing best 8?
I think we should I think you should I would say draft the best draft like the best 8-man rotation that you can.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and I'm also thinking that even though it's the All-Star game, I do think it's more fun just to do it based on draft the best 8-man rotation as if you were trying to win the championship, not if you're trying to win the All-Star game, just because I don't know. Like, yeah, we don't want just people with deep bags getting drafted first, and that's it. Cool. Yeah. Any other questions? We're good.
Good to go.
Awesome. So yeah, John and Matt were generous enough to gift me with the first pick. So I'm going first, and then Matt second, John third, and then we're doing a snake draft. So John will have the 4th pick, and then Matt will have the 5th, and then I'll have the 6th and the 7th, and so on and so forth. So, with my first pick, didn't really have to think a ton about it. If I'm deciding if I want to win a championship, I want to pick players that have been there and done that, and with that, I'm going to choose who I think is the best player in the league, Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, I think that was obviously the right decision. And with that, I'm going to take who I think is the second best player in the league. He's also been there and done that, and that's Giannis.
Damn it.
Okay.
And those were kind of the 2 to pick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With I guess my first of 2 picks, I'm going to take someone who has also been there and done that for quite some time, and that's LeBron James, having a great season in year whatever it is, 72.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to wrap it around and select the 2023 All-Star MVP, Jason Tatum.
You son of a bitch.
Finals MVP of the 2024 season. He wasn't making it around the wrap, guys. I'm sorry.
I'm actually shocked he didn't go 1 or 2. I'm not gonna lie, but
yeah, I was surprised at that too. Matt, take your number 5, and then I'll give my takeaway on your number 2 as well. But go ahead.
All right. With the number 5th pick in the draft, I would have to go with. I'm going to go with Kevin Durant from the Phoenix Suns. Fantastic. I was going to pick somebody else, but I think I've slandered him too much to pick him in the draft.
I know who you're going to pick. I'm glad you didn't.
And I have a feeling that that pick might be the one that I'm picking next. I could be wrong though. But okay, yeah. So my second overall pick and my second pick in the 6th overall pick, I'm going to take the guy who I have a big time love-hate relationship with. John and Matt have a hate-hate relationship with, but Steph Curry. He's someone who I've rooted for years. I rooted for him all the years that he was playing LeBron in the finals, but however, he did something in 2022 which we're not allowed to, which we have banned from this episode of the podcast. So yeah, we don't have to talk about that. Oh, yeah. Also the 7th pick.
That was the pick to make, I think. That was
yeah. And then he fell to me, sweet. Numbers with the 7th pick, my 3rd pick, I'm going to go with the 2019 Finals MVP and the 2024 Western Conference Finals MVP, Kawhi Leonard.
Damn.
Chris, very good pick. And Nick Superfan just entered the room and says hello to the Driscoll boys. Dean Hanrahan.
Hello, Dean. Nice to hear from you.
All right, so it's up to me. So I think I have to go guard here. And I'm going to pick somebody that has impressed a lot of people this year, playing at he won't win MVP this year, but he's definitely be in the conversation. That's SGA.
I got 2 picks here now. Okay, so I think I need a guard. and I like you guys, like we all do, really. I value two-way guards, and that's why for my first pick in the third round, I'm going to be taking Anthony Edwards.
Great pick.
There's so many guys here that I've called a fraud in the past.
Yeah, that's a unfortunate thing when you get
You know, I'm gonna double down on my two-way player take on the wraparound and take Anthony Davis.
Ooh.
That's a good pick, John. I thought that Chris actually took this guy with the last pick of the second round. I totally forgot you said Curry, but I'm gonna take Luka Doncic with this pick. I know you guys will not like that pick, but one of the top players in the league.
Matt, my disappointment for your picks went down the toilet when you picked Giannis with your second pick. So yes, I don't want to hear it. Cool. Yeah, these are Obviously, it's the All-Star game, so there aren't going to be many bad picks. But I've attacked every single position so far. So, or like I got a wing, a point, and a big. So I'm happy with where I am right now. Let's see. With my fourth pick and the 12th overall pick, I'm going to go with a guy who has been the best player on a team that has made the finals, but is unfortunately a pretty brutal elimination game player. I'm going to go with Devin Booker.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, very good pick. He's
got a couple good wins here. Yeah. Okay. And then with my fifth roster spots and 13th overall pick, I'm going to go with the Driscoll favorite, actually, Paul George.
You love PG-13.
Yep.
Yes.
Pairing up Kawhi and PG.
All right, let's see. With my next pick, I know, John, you've been talking about two-way players. I think one of the most elite two-way players. Another Driscoll favorite, Jaylen Brown.
Let's go.
Matt, are you feeling left out not having two picks in a row?
I am.
Going in the middle.
I wish we didn't gift AH the first pick.
I bet you are.
Okay, wait. I'm writing these down, but I'm like nervous that I didn't. Okay. I know he has kind of slid off a little bit. He got off to a scorching hot start. One of my favorite up and coming players in the league. Very good facilitator. I'm going to take Tyrese Halliburton.
Very good.
And then the wraparound. Oof. With this wraparound, I'm going to, I'm going to take some needed guard depth. And shout out to Dean if he's listening ahead. We're going with Jalen Brunson.
Oh, you just stole my pick. He's been an apartment favorite here with all the Knicks fans. Right.
Let the record be showed that Brunson was taken 16th overall. So he's officially overrated by the Ringer. He's 15th. So and that's not even including Joel Embiid. So let's call a spade a spade. Jalen Brunson is officially overrated. Yes, I'm trying to push the many Knick fan viewers buttons here. So don't get too annoyed.
I think it's a good thing that you took Jalen Brunson, John, because I definitely need a big man. And I think I'm going to take Ryan McManus' favorite, Karl Anthony Towns.
Great pick. And with that, all of the Western Conference players are officially off the board.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So yeah, there are 7. Yeah, so we have 7 picks left. All of them are Eastern Conference players. Which one do I go with? Got good wing depth. I could use both big and facilitator depth, so I'm gonna go with my 18th pick. I'm gonna go big. I'm going to go. Not a big fan of this guy at all. And especially with how much the Celtics hate him too. I'm gonna go with Bam Adebayo. Yeah.
That's
Elite rim defender. But however, I've watched far too many moving screens go against us. So us being the Celtics. So maybe some of that will be a little more tolerable when he'll be in my team.
Yeah, very very good pick.
Yeah.
I'm saying that after every pick, it's like an all-star game. You know?
Yeah. That guy's good.
It's my pick still, by the way.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, you're good. So with my, this is my with my second to last pick. Wait, 1, 2. Yeah, second to last pick and the 19th overall pick in the draft. I'm going to go one of my favorite players of all time. Someone who used to be in conversations with Jason Tatum, which is why a lot of Celtics fans didn't like him in the beginning. But it's Donovan Mitchell.
Known Mets fan, Donovan Mitchell.
That's right.
Shout out him. All right, with this pick, I'm between 2 guys here, but I think this guy's definitely been playing better, especially with his best player on his team, Joel Embiid, being hurt. I'm going to take Tyrese Maxey.
Great pick.
That's who I was going to pick. All right, so I think with my team, I have decent size at the front court, but I definitely need a little bit more with Halliburton's decently sized for a point guard, but Halliburton, Brunson, and Ant, all 3 guards. So I think I'm going to take a player that we all like. We've spoke about pretty high on this podcast, and that's Paolo Banchero.
My man.
And on the wraparound, my final pick, and someone I think that we have also spoken poorly about, maybe not in an aggressive sense, but we have some problems with his ability to, have his stats impact the game, but that's Trae Young.
I think Dean just went from loving your team to hating your team, John, with that pick.
Yeah, but does he see who I have left to choose from?
All right, so I'm between 2 players here, which is Scotty Barnes and Damian Lillard, and I think this is the easiest pick of the draft. Never a doubt. I'm going to pick Scotty.
Wow. Okay.
Good pick, Matt.
Thank you. I like defense and efficiency, so I think that's a very easy pick.
Wow. Yeah, I know that all of us are extremely anti-Buck, and most of us are. I would say all of us are not too big a fan of Dame. I didn't realize it was to this extent, though. Wow, he really fell in my lap. Which, granted, I don't think he should be starting the All-Star game by any sense, but I don't know.
I prefer not having inefficient shot chuckers. That's just.
I don't disagree with that. However,
you did just pick Trae Young, but
shit.
Cool. So yeah, so I'll give you guys a couple seconds to just rearrange your roster to make it so you can have your starting lineup and your 3 bench guys of how it would look like. It doesn't necessarily have to be in that order, but for me, I'll go first. So I'll give you guys extra time. So at my starting point guard, it would be Steph Curry. At my shooting guard, it would be Devin Booker. Then we'd be going small. So I guess I'd put Paul George on my small forward. Then Kawhi Leonard at the 4. So yeah, as I mentioned, the PG and Kawhi pairing would be fantastic. And then of course Nikola Jokic at the 5. So an entire starting 5 of guys who I was about to say guys who play two ways, but that's not true. Steph and Booker aren't really elite two-way players, and neither is Jokic. But even though he did step up big time in the playoffs last year, but 5 just overall fantastically impactful players. And then my 3 bench guys, I guess Dame would probably be my. I don't know actually, like depending on how Dame is. But yeah, my 3 bench guys you could put in however order you want. It would be Dame, Donovan Mitchell, and Bam Adebayo. So I'm loving my team. Not gonna lie, I'm very proud of it. The way that I structured it, but. Matt, why don't you tell us about your team?
So I am currently in a debate with myself whether I put Giannis at the 5 or keep Giannis at the 4 and start Cat. But I think I'm going to have to shout out Jaylen Brown and put him in the starting lineup. So it's going to look like Luka at the 1, SGA at the 2, Jaylen Brown at the 3, Kevin Durant at the 4, and Giannis at the 5. And then my bench is Karl-Anthony Towns, Tyrese Maxey, and Scotty Barnes. I'm a big fan of my team, minus Luka, all very good two-way players.
And just structuring my team.
Cat, yeah.
So I'm just going to start with Tyrese Halliburton at the 1, Ant at the 2. I'll put Bron at the 3, Tatum at the 4. Anthony Davis is going at the 5. I don't care how much he hates it. He's playing the 5. Jalen Brunson, 6-man off the bench. He's going to give opposing guards fits. Paolo Banchero and Trae Young to round out my bench.
Yeah. Obviously, as we mentioned, it's all stars. So obviously we couldn't. None of us could really lose this draft too much. But however, if we were to pick one, I'm not gonna lie, I'm liking my chances a lot. Between championship pedigree, no. What do you mean no?
I think your last pick took you out of playoff contention. I'm not gonna lie.
That.
You should have just forfeited the pick.
But the last pick, your last pick is someone who's not even in the playoffs.
Who's Scotty Barnes or both of ours?
No, that's true.
Yeah, but
because they're not on a team with Giannis.
I
don't bring up playoff pedigree.
Yeah. I don't know. Never thought I'd see myself.
The Xbox. We're going to go to the park.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I haven't played 2K in a couple years now. Besides last weekend when I was too busy taking Matt's roommate to school in 2K actually. But so yeah, but I guess the only way to settle this besides playing 2K, which none of us really have, is we're definitely gonna have to make this both an Instagram and a Twitter poll. So but yeah, like I think that's a perfect segue to the end of the show. John and Matt, thanks so much for coming on. It's always a great time with you guys. This is a little bit of a shorter pod than usual. But yeah, like obviously very excited for the break coming up. I shouldn't say too excited because obviously we're not gonna be a lot of fun missing the Celtics for the next week or so. But also weekend should be fun. We'll probably record another episode or two during the break because we're not gonna be watching the games a ton. But as I mentioned, we're going to be uploading our rosters onto both the All American Hooper Instagram and Twitter accounts. So follow me on all my socials on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. All American Hooper, as I mentioned. Follow my column at primetimesportstalk.com, which is where this episode will also be uploaded to. They've been generous enough to allow these episodes to be uploaded to the website, so that's very generous of them. But as I mentioned, again, John and Matt, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us, AAH. Jaylen Brown for Slam Dunk Champion.
Oh, I can't believe you didn't mention that. Oh, yeah, that's gonna be fantastic.
Yes, thank you again, AAH. Always a pleasure. Always love coming on.
Great having you guys on.
Repping the AAH shirt.
I love it. Yeah. But again, thanks so much everyone for watching. Like and subscribe, and have a great night.